Yeah, it's my understanding. That's my understanding. The Catholic Church uh, composed scripture, compiled the Bible, and is the authentic commentator upon it, and has always taught that there is an eternal destination that is not heaven, and that some go there. Yeah. There are some who try to interpret Scripture in a way that tries to negate that. You have some people who are obviously it's contrary to Catholic teaching, but they are universalists and thinking that there's not going to be any use for a hell because ultimately everybody's going to be saved. There's also some people try to interpret Scripture through a nihilistic lens, and they will claim that, well, what hell really is that you're just going to be destroyed, you're going to be annihilated, and you're just going to be in a state of non-existence for all eternity. And both of those views, both the universalist and the annihilist perspectives, interpretations, are rejected by the Catholic Church. That's not part of its teachings. One way in which I can explain it a little more philosophically is that according to Catholic teaching, we both have a material body and an immaterial soul. And God creates this immaterial soul at the moment of conception. All right? That we are created in the image and likeness of God, and that this image is primarily in the soul, that we have the power of intellect, of self-mastery, of will, of having passions that distinguishes us from animals. These are kind of some of the attributes, but the nature of the soul itself is immaterial, but it's also eternal, according to Catholic teaching. And the reason why it's eternal could be answered in the fact that it was created in the image and likeness of God, so it has intrinsic value. God doesn't destroy the image in which we were created by taking that which exists in his image and then have it cease to exist. So we have intrinsic value, and God created us with an immaterial soul that is eternal because God wanted us to exist. Now, God would then continue his will to maintain the intrinsic value. Okay, we don't have a mere instrumental value where we're only worth keeping in existence for a particular cause or purpose or reason. Rather, God simply wanted you to exist. Now, if you take the powers of the soul and you do not direct them towards their proper end, which is God, all right? If you use the will and the intellect in a way that leads us away from God, that's unfortunate. Now, if that's what a person wants to do, then that's what a person will do. But here and now, we definitely don't experience people disappearing just because the will is so directed away from him, nor because somebody's will permanently be directed against him. Here in the after a person dies, and their will becomes fixed, and their intellect becomes fixed upon whatever end they had directed themselves towards, doesn't negate the fact that God wanted you to exist and have done otherwise. If we're going to misuse our will, that doesn't mean that God's going to take away the will. It's not on loan. He wants you to exist for all eternity. And if you don't want to spend that with him, I mean, that's, once again, that's unfortunate.